Hello and welcome to HITC Sport. Right, let's take a look at every Premier League club and find the one player who surprisingly come back from the wilderness to save their career this season. Right, let's go. Arsenal, Mohamed El Neni. Mohamed El Neni has the athleticism of a sponge. By all rights, this limited Egyptian midfielder is more suited to working down the local petrol station than he is to be lining up on a pitch for Arsenal. Mo Salah is flying the flag for Egyptians nationwide. El Neni, by contrast, is flying the flag for midfielders stealing a living at massive clubs. Honestly, next month will be the 4-year anniversary of El Neni signing for Arsenal. The fact he's still there, it's almost a criminal offence. But to be fair, after he loaned out to Besiktas last season, he probably mentally checked out of North London, said his goodbyes to the dinner lady, sold his dog, chucked his Oyster card in the bin, but for some reason, he's back in the team. He's already started 13 games this season. Yes, the results have been pudding, but he did still play all 90 minutes in that famous win at Old Trafford. He's won every game in Europe. Yeah, Arsenal have been utter cat-sick this season, but El Neni has been far from the worst offender. Not bad. Aston Villa, Emiliano Martinez. Listen, Emiliano Martinez got himself to the Arsenal first team after lockdown, but lads, the reality is he could very easily have gone back to the bench. After over a decade of no football at the Emirates, it would be a very seamless transition. You might think last season was good, but no, he was still on the bench for 30 games last year. This season, unless Tom Heaton miraculously heals his knee and morphs into Buffon overnight, then Martinez won't be on the bench for any. He's already made 11 appearances, kept 6 clean sheets. Lads, this is the best year of his life. Brighton, Danny Welbeck. I think we all assumed Danny Welbeck was finished in England, didn't we? An injury-riddled half a decade. You'd have thought that a limp relegation with Watford would have been the end of this guy in the Premier League. Suddenly offered contracts at the back arse of Turkey. Just another injury ham sandwich on par with Daniel Sturridge. No, he arrived at Brighton and everyone assumed he'd just be another injury stain soaking up wages in the treatment room. No, he's looked bright and lively, scored a chip at Villa Park. He started the last 6 Premier League games. The last time he did that was in 2017. Right, this guy should probably be spending his Saturday afternoons at Jack Wilshere's house. Both of them just living out their careers on FIFA 21 while simultaneously crying on the couch. But to be fair, Brighton have resuscitated this guy's career. Robbie Brady. Robbie Brady is back and good on him. I assumed his Burnley career was lying dead in a ditch. He was so far out of the picture last season. Absolutely 0 starts in the league since Christmas and no goals since December. I assumed he'd be back in the Championship with someone like Derby County this year. No, he started 6 games for Burnley, banged in a goal at Goodison Park, mostly plays on the right wing these days, and he's looking good. Chelsea, Olivier Giroud. It would be so easy for Olivier Giroud to be finished at Stamford Bridge. Come on, he's 34 years old. Frank Lampard clearly doesn't fancy a target man. They've just forked out £50 million on a new striker. He could so very easily have just morphed into a comfortable and permanent stain on Chelsea's bench. No, the guy who was mostly ignored in 2019 and started the season on the bench, he was probably getting ready to book winter flights to Milan. It's taken him until nearly Christmas to get recognition, but he was handed a start at Sevilla in the Champions League. He blew the roof off of 4 goals. Lampard could not drop him after that. Right, well, Giroud could have run down his dog and made love to his wife. You still can't find a reason to drop a man after 4 goals in 1 match. He bangs in a goal against Leeds in his first Premier League start, recently notched against Wolves. People question Giroud's hunger and fight at Arsenal. Lads, he could have just easily accepted the fat paycheck and sat on the bench with no fuss. But no, even at 34, he's absolutely clawing his way back into Lampard's plans. This is a fella fighting tooth and nail for his Chelsea career. Crystal Palace, Nathaniel Clyne. 3 months ago, Nathaniel Clyne was unemployed, washed up and forgotten. Honestly, if he didn't already have that prior relationship with Crystal Palace, he might currently be serving up sandwiches down his local Subway. It took this guy until October 14th to be offered a short-term deal by Palace, and considering his knee cartilage probably resembles wet spaghetti, you'd assume this was just a sympathy signing. You know, just employ a former player to make the tea and keep him out of the house. No, he's got his fitness back, just started the last 7 games, even grabbing an assist in that 5-1 thumping of West Brom. Lads, the last time Clyne started 7 league games in a row, Despacito was number 1 on the damn charts. Everton, James Rodriguez. It's a bit dramatic to say James Rodriguez is saving his career at Everton, but at least he's getting regular games now, actually valued by a football club instead of being viewed as some Colombian afterthought. Good Christ, Zinedine Zidane gave this guy 1 start at Real Madrid since October 2019. He didn't even put him on the bench for the last 5 games of the season, but now he's back in business. Sure, his goals and assists have dried up recently, but still, 11 starts by Christmas, it's a slow recovery. Fulham, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Yeah, you might say Ruben Loftus-Cheek is in the same place he was 3 years ago, just stuffed out on loan to another London club. But hey, that was enough to get him in Gareth Southgate's England team for the World Cup, wasn't it? This guy has been bigged up at Stamford Bridge for 5 goddamn years now. Maybe Jose Mourinho was right when he ripped his life apart after that game against West Brom. Let's face it, Loftus-Cheek has about as much chance of turning his Chelsea career around as Victor Moses, but he's still doing well for Fulham at least. He started 6 games, scored against Everton, and been influential in their turnaround of form. It's a definite improvement on spending last season nursing a ruptured Achilles tendon. And he seems to have a good relationship with Scott Parker, who was the original young English midfielder ignored at Stamford Bridge. Leeds, Patrick Bamford. Yes, Patrick Bamford had a great season in the Championship last season, but that's just it. It was the Championship. Judging by his track record in the top flight, even he must have thought Marcelo Bielsa was going to replace him in the summer, right? No, 9 goals in 13 games has shut me right up. Let's just pray Leeds don't finish in the top half of the table. Leicester, Christian Fuchs. BS. be honest, you all thought Christian Fuchs was done at Leicester City. It does seem weird to see another remaining member of that title-winning season still at the club. It's a bit like that creepy old man who still won't leave the house party. He's a 34-year-old left-back, was largely benched for the last 2 seasons, but now that Ben Chilwell is gone, the Austrian is back in the team. He started the last 8 games, 5 of them were wins, so he's doing a pretty good job. The guy's already played 15 games for Leicester this season. Not bad at all. Liverpool Joel Matip. It's never nice to see your teammates get injured, but let's be honest, Joel Matip probably openly cheered when Jordan Pickford sighed through Van Dijk like a runaway train. This Cameroon centre-half hadn't put a run of games together for Liverpool since the start of last season. He barely featured after Halloween and probably felt like quitting the club. Yeah, he's already started 7 games this season, including the Merseyside derby, the big trip to the Etihad, and a couple of Champions League games. The man's career is back on track. Man City John Stones. John Stones' Manchester City career looked dead in the water. It was last Christmas when Pep Guardiola finally lost faith in John Stones. After that limp and frail defeat at home to their City rivals, he was instantly binned. Started just 4 of the last 18 league games. And yeah, City reached the Champions League quarter-finals, but Stones played less than an hour of European football all season. So when he found himself still stuffed on the bench this season, and with the arrival of Nathan Ake and Ruben Diaz, oh, he must have felt like beating his head off a wall. Another English talent whose career is about to be ripped apart by Pep Guardiola, just like he did with Joe Hart, right? He was probably already mentally booking that low move to West Ham. No, he clawed his way back into the team last month, started 3 games, all of which were clean sheets, including the derby. Bit of a redemption for him after being reduced to a quivering schoolboy by Anthony Martial last year. Man United Fred. Lads, I assume Fred was done at Old Trafford. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was edging away from him after lockdown. He didn't start any of the last 8 league games and didn't even make it off the bench in 5 of those. He was receiving the same treatment as Romelu Lukaku did the previous year. And look what happened to him. The arrival of Donny van de Beek looked like he was only going to accelerate the end of his time at Old Trafford, right? No, he started 13 games this season. No, he hasn't been great or anything, but he's still in the team at least. Newcastle Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy has been written off as a £12 million Newcastle flop for at least 2 years. The arrival of Mikel Almiron effectively ended his Tyneside career, with Steve Bruce bidding him off to Sheffield United on loan last season. He'd been cast on loan to West Brom the year before that, so the arrival of Ryan Fraser on top of the wingers they already had. Oh, the forgotten Murphy must have felt like selling his Newcastle house in the summer. No, who saw this resurrection coming? He started 7 games under Bruce this season, smashed in a last gasp free kick at Wolves, and set up Dwight Gale's winner against West Brom with a Beckham-esque cross. Lads, he's playing the best football of his Newcastle career. Sheffield United Ethan Ampadu. I don't really want to say Ethan Ampadu is saving his career because he hasn't won a match yet. This former Chelsea prodigy is bottom of the league, while Nathan Ake, the guy he was always compared to, is a £40 million Man City centre-half. I mean, come on. But lads, after being largely ignored on loan to RB Leipzig last season, he's at least started 7 Premier League games this year. It's an improvement on a season of being stuck to the bench in Germany. Southampton, Yannick Vestergaard. Yannick Vestergaard was written off as an expensive Southampton flop last season, banished to the bench soon after that laughably wretched display in that 9-0 defeat to Leicester. The traumatised Danish centre-half looked like he was about to crawl back to Scandinavia in the summer. No, this supposed defensive flop is back in the team, started the last 11 games, lost just once. Oh yeah, and chipped in with 3 goals from centre-back. This guy's gone from utter defensive flop compared to a crippled horse to now turning himself into a fan favourite for a team challenging for the top 4. Tottenham Eric Dier. If you rewound a year and tried to predict what players Jose Mourinho would sell in the summer, oh, you'd bet your house on Eric Dier being the first one. A bang average midfielder, he lost his place under Mauricio Pochettino. Even under Jose, he was in and out of the team and then got suspended for fighting a fan in the crowd. You're damn right he'd be gone in the summer. No, Josie understands that Dier is a nothing defensive midfielder, just some bang average workhorse on par with Harry Winks, and that would have made someone like Scott Parker look like Roy Keane. So instead, he's converted him to centre back, and he's played nearly every minute of the season. The only game he didn't play was a stupid 3-3 home draw with West Ham, which again must have confirmed to Jose that Davinson Sanchez belongs in a skip. West Brom Callum Robinson. Callum Robinson looked like he was unfit for the Premier League, with Sheffield United getting rid of him halfway through last season. Boy, could they do with him now. He's back with West Brom, played nearly every game this season, chipped in with 2 goals against Chelsea. Yeah, it's an improvement. West Ham Sebastian Haller. Sebastian Haller was placed in the same bracket as Joe Linton last season. Just another wasted chunk of 40 million quid chucked on a terrible centre forward. You'd assume Haller would have been loaned out to some Turkish club this season, right? No, this guy is clawing himself back into David Moyes' team. He was given just 2 minutes against Wolves in September, but still found time to thump in a goal. Then he scores the winner against Sheffield United. Recently just banged in a bicycle kick against Crystal Palace, and he's also scored 4 goals in the EFL Cup against Charlton and Hull. This is refreshing. Someone who's just refusing to accept becoming another West Ham striker flop, showing he actually has the hunger to turn it around. Wolves Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto was a good player last season, but Nuno Espirito Santo didn't really trust him all that much. Yeah, he played every week, but usually as a sub. The Portuguese winger only started 9 league games all season. Well, he's a virtual ever-present this time out, starting every game. He's chipped in with 4 goals, including a last-minute winner against Chelsea. Not bad at all. If that's it, guys, if you enjoyed that, don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.